Pop chat. Hello, everybody. I'm doing this by myself today. Mrs. Spec is not feeling well. She's in bed. She didn't sleep much last night. So, hello, Mark. Thanks for coming. Hello, Jay. Dean Stevenson. Welcome. Hello, Lester. Thanks for joining us. Hello, Bruce. Good afternoon. I'm still a little bit sick too, but I'm coughing less. I slept most of the night last night without coughing, so that was good. Welcome, buddy. Thanks for joining us. Oh, I guess I'll start the slideshow. Did it start? Let's see if it changes the picture. Hey, it changes the picture. This is the color I like most on the Volkswagen Beetles. The jade green. It looks the best. You're still going to hear me cough a little bit, but I'll try to turn away from the microphone. So how's everybody doing today? I got pictures of the Gram Charger that's in the paint shop. It's all done. They repaired the driver's seat so it looks brand new again. And looks like everything's ready to go. Now we just have to drive it almost 1,800 kilometers with the brand new paint job down to the port of Veracruz. And that's going to take 3 days of driving because we can't drive at night here. So I think we'll drive as far as Guadalajara, get the room there, then plot out how far we want to go on the next day on Saturday, get a room there, and then drive into Veracruz on Sunday and be ready for Monday morning to deliver the truck. What? It'll be Friday. Oh, third stay, yeah. This year. Hopefully they'll actually be keeping track of it so we can get on whatever special thing they have. And then if we want to fly back into Guadalajara, we can stay there again. But that would be extra money. Then we got to figure out how to get back here. Yeah, extra days. You better be feeling better for the trip. Me too. Doing the nebulizer, I think, is helping. But I've only done it once a day, though. So what's going on, everybody? We're just sitting here on our nice sunny day. Mrs. Becky is watching the comments, so yes, you are. So now that I've had the, Mark says it's cloudy and negative 11 Celsius there. You need some sunlight, Mark. Lester says, waiting for the cold weather to go away. When does it go away in your neighborhood, Lester? In March, April? Somewhere around there? We had a few cloudy days, but sun's out today. In March, okay. And I think we're spoiling the dog because I looked in here at 10 a.m. and he's still sleeping. Oh, dog. Yeah. So I heard a cat that is not ours in his room eating his food. So I had to get him out of bed so he could go take care of things. But the cat was gone by that. I chased the cat out of the yard. Welcome, Josh. Thanks for being here. I have my Durango sitting in front of my gate to the backyard, backed in. I have my wagon on the other side of the gate, so where the cat jumps up on the Durango can get over the gate, then comes down on the roof of the wagon, and then can come down in the backyard. And I did that because my white cat is a horrible jumper. So he needs all of the steps to get in and out of the backyard. But other cats are using it too. But this is a gray cat with a small body and a huge head. So it must be a male. But huge head. Just never seen a cat head that big. But yeah, the cats are eating the dog food in the dog's room. I think there's going to be a few beetles on here because I didn't really have the energy to save new pictures. So these are pictures that were in my folder, and I just took the 0001 and then went from there. Hello, Chris. Thanks for joining us. Here's a comment for you. You can see it right there.
No, it's too small. I don't have my
Hmm? She's trying to get into the live on her phone. Yes, Chris, it was yesterday.
Oh, thank you, Mark.
And Lester too.
Lester.
Yes, it was yesterday, and she wasn't feeling well, which is terrible. She's supposed to go out with her friends to go to a nice restaurant tonight, but she may not be able to do it. So we're seeing how she feels later in the day. Maybe she should go stand out in the sun and get some vitamin E. Huh? Chris's birthday was Thursday. All the cute, cool kids have January birthdays. Happy birthday, Chris.
My experience, January birthdays suck because nobody has money by that point.
That's right. They spent all their money on Christmas and they're trying to pay off their credit cards in January. What's even worse, I hear, is having a birthday right at Christmas. Mark says, Happy 29th birthday, Mrs. Spec.
Thank you, Mark. Also, happy birthday, Chris.
Yeah, she'll be 29 for a while. And I'll be 35, so there's not that much room between it, not many years between us. I can tell you what used to be a 59-year-old, people say I do not look like my age, so I'll take their word for it. Although, I wasn't working out in the sun for most of my life or anything like that. That really ages a person. I don't drink, I don't smoke. So, but I've never actually taken care of my skin or anything like that. Never put, stuff on, um, my skin or anything. But Mark says the old parts manual manager's birthday is on Christmas Day. You see, that sucks because as a kid, all of your friends are with their families on your birthday, so you can never have a birthday party. So my Mark's old parts manager's birthday was on Christmas Day.
Oh yeah.
So you can never have a birthday party as a kid. So, everybody else has their birthday parties all year long, and you get your birthday party and nobody can come because they're whatever. Lester asked if I look older than my age. Mrs. Spec says no. So we'll have to believe her.
I am the law here.
Yeah, she's the law. Josh says very happy birthday to Mrs. Spec.
Thank you, Josh.
No, it's even worse, Mark, on Christmas Day, because that's when you get up and you as a kid, you run to the living room and you open all the presents. And there's probably one that said for Christmas and one that said for birthday for the kid, but it's not the same.
It's a little bit better here in Mexico because we celebrate Christmas on the 24th, not the
Yeah,
25th.
right.
We have the big party. We celebrate both days. We have the big party on the 24th.
And then there's King's Day on January 6th.
Well, that's mostly for the south, the central south of
Yeah, but you people here still eat the is it cake or bread or something?
It's let's call it bread, a rosca. But darling, for King's Day in Mexico, they actually give out presents. That's when they give out the presents and they do all the kinds of stuff.
Oh, in like Mexico City?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we don't do that here. Kids do not get two shots at the apple, two bites at the apple. Lester says you don't get as many presents. That's right, because they're already buying you Christmas presents, so you don't get any birthday presents. Mark says he'll be 29 with 34 years experience on my next birthday. You got a little bit on me, Mark. Yeah, and again, people spend so much because the family is not only buying their Christmas presents for the kids, they're buying it for everybody in the family and their sisters and brothers and everything else. So there's a lot less money to spend for a birthday for the kid. Will the Trill is here, says, good evening, Mr. and Mrs. Spec. Happy birthday, Mrs. Spec. Miss Spec. She is married, Will. She is married.
Thank you.
Lots of Volkswagen Beetles here. If you think about it, the ones that I show are at least 25 years old and they're still in this condition. What did a 25-year-old Beetle look like to anybody in the US, no matter what year it was? Let's say a 1970 Beetle in 1995. It was hard to find one in good condition because they were all driven into the ground. Will the Trail. Okay, making sure. Chris says, let's be politically correct. It's Miss Spec. No, she's married, Chris. It's Mrs. Miss would be a younger female unmarried, or Ms. So after Chris I just recently saw a video that Chris did, and he has two Fiat 500s already in front of his house. Then the blue one that he recently bought was smashed, so he's looking for another one. So he's keeping the Fiat 500, um, the whole what's the word market on track. Mark says any automatic 2005 ish Corollas. I'm sure they're all over the place, but like I told you before, Toyota came to Mexico and started selling cars in 2001. So that would have been, one of the first cars that they sold. They sold a few cars, a few models like the Yaris and probably the Corolla the first 2 years, I think, and then I think in 2003 they started selling the trucks, the Hilux, and all of the rest of them. Will says, I see you got another Ram Charger. Yes, I bought a Ram Charger for a client, and we brought it back here to our home base, and it just got finished today at the paint shop, but I was going to be here and wasn't able to go pick it up. So he sent me pictures of it, and it is, man, it's nice. It's really nice. And the bolster on the seat, the leather bolster on the original seat, was torn up. So he sent the seat out, and the upholsterer took some leather from the pouch in the back of the seat, and he fixed the bolster, and it looks brand new again. And he charged me $35 to do that. Yeah, Lester, he's cornered the market on Fiat 500s, and more power to him. Let him have them all. Limo, welcome. Hey Mex, are Beetle body panels still made in Mexico? I don't think so. No, when they stopped production in 2003 at the Puebla plant, I don't think they made any more. You can still buy the parts all over the place. Chris says, it's called the Driveway of Misfits for a reason. I thought you named it that for the LeBaron, not for the Fiat 500s. Mark says, guy I worked with at the tire store would greet every woman as Miss. Made the older ones feel young. Or they knew he was lying. One or the other. Will says, you got a red and a silver one. That's cool. Yeah, those both of the red and the silver are manuals. Both low mile manuals, very rare, hard to find, but and they're both in pretty decent condition. But I saw with our paint shop here, um, he painted basically the whole truck except for the roof, did some repairs on the body work, fixed the seat, and we're still missing one piece for it. He said he did a few things without charging me, but I don't know what they were. Um, he took the grill off, he painted the grill separately, he painted the bumpers, he painted everything, and the cost was about, let's say, about $900 to do everything on it. So that's not bad, not a bad price. Josh, 2001, Toyota was selling vehicles in Africa for decades before that. Yeah, but remember, Josh, that Mexico was a closed country. The manufacturers that were selling here were making all of their cars here with all parts made here. So it wasn't until the early 2000s that the other companies started coming in, like Toyota, Mazda, Suzuki, all of those newer um, brands weren't selling anything in Mexico before that. Will says that's even better. Do they have the 318 or 360? It has the 5.2-liter Magnum in it, but they are base model trucks, which means I've actually seen, I think it was a 1999 model Ram Charger that had no power windows, no air conditioning, no options on it whatsoever. And somebody actually ordered it that way and bought it. You at least have to have air conditioning in a newer Ram truck, right? Have you ever seen a newer Ram, a second gen without air conditioning? But that's how they ordered it. But on these Ram Chargers, the base model, most of them have air conditioning. Most of them do not have the front and rear air in the base models. You have to go up to the SLT for that. So you're basically getting just a V8 engine, the stick shift, and probably not power windows. I think the red one has roll up windows, which I am perfectly fine with. I have no problem with roll up windows in a truck. I don't need power windows to go out on me. I'm fighting the Durango with all that stuff now. Chris says the Fiat 500 sold here were made in Mexico. I'm helping prop up the Mexican economy with my purchase. Yeah, but that was 20 years ago, or however many years ago. They're not making them anymore, I bet. You know where the factory was for that, Chris? Where they were making Fiats? They weren't making Fiats here? Huh, didn't know that. So your VIN started with a 3, Chris? Mark says, my daughter loves her Corolla, but it's falling apart. She doesn't even want anything newer. She wants to stick to the 2005-ish range. It's have to find one for a decent price in decent condition here now. Yeah, you might have to go, like, I don't know if it's even possible for you to import one from the US. Um there regulations about that with all this new stuff going on? Because I hear there's pretty bad tariffs if you want to import a classic car into there. But I don't know. Toluca. There's a factory in Toluca that made Fiats?
I don't know what they make.
How dare
I
they?
know because we use the train to transport the parts.
People usually go down to this, like Georgia, places like that, and they bring them up like Chris is doing. He's buying cars down in the southern states to bring it up to New York just to make sure that it doesn't have any rust on it. Will, I honestly don't know because I'm gonna have to do some research on that. I'm not sure if 85 was the first year that the Cougar was sold here because the Mustang stopped production in 1984, and because of that, they had room to bring in another model. Now, it was just pointed out to me, I should have known this, but it was just pointed out to me that the taillights on that 85 Cougar are actually from the 83, 84 model. And I remember the 85, 86 model um, had flatter taillights on it, on the Cougars.
Wait,
So yeah, they used the older taillights on the 85 Cougars in Mexico. And it only had a V6 under the hood because V8s were banned for the 1985 model year. But on the bright side, it does have a dual snorkel air cleaner. So that's cool when you open the hood. What?
Wait, so somebody pointed out something to you.
Yes.
To you.
Yes.
Uh huh. Amazing.
How would I know they're making Fiats in Mexico?
No, the taillights.
Oh yeah, it didn't even occur to me. Josh says neat bubble top. Yeah, somebody did a really nice job on that, and I love the color. Will asked me, "How's your throat? Is it getting any better?" It is getting better, but I'm still coughing and I still have a stuffed up nose. I was able to sleep all through the night. Unfortunately, Mrs. Spec couldn't. She's also feeling under the weather. Um, if I sleep on my side, I don't have much of a problem. If I sleep on my back, then all the everything that's in my lungs and everything, I'm doing everything the doctor is telling me to do. I have the inhaler. I have a nebulizer with saline to open up things in my chest. So I really hope I really hope we're both feeling better because we have to leave on Friday to drive the truck down to uh, to Veracruz. Right here. Lester, did they darken the taillights on that Cougar? Yeah, I mentioned that in the write up that I don't understand that people smoke out their taillights. I want the brightest red brake lights on my car as possible so nobody runs into the back of me. I really don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense. It's probably just paint. So maybe, a light sanding and buffing will bring the taillights back. So actually, I think the extra that the body shop guy told me was that he buffed the headlights and stuff. That would, yeah. Yeah, because the headlights needed to be buffed on the Ram Charger. And since they already had the buffer out, they just did it anyway. They just did it. I have the taillights here for it. I have to take the taillights, had the new license plates over there, put them back on, and so I'm able to drive the truck back here. But I'm going to do that on Monday morning. He's going to close at 3 o'clock, which is in 40 minutes. So I've already paid him for the work. I just have to go pick it up on Monday morning. Yes, I did. It looks really. Look at the headlights though. I didn't pay any attention to the headlights. See if they're clear because we may be driving a little bit at night coming into Guadalajara, just like we did coming the other way. What now? Here's the whole thing about this Ram Charger. We bought it in Guanajuato, drove it up to Guadalajara, and then back up here. When we drive it back to Veracruz, we have to retrace our steps all the past where we bought it from, and then head out to Veracruz. So it's like all of this extra driving. We did all this extra driving, and it should have just worked out. We should have just delivered it down there. But the truck was not deliverable like it was. Will says, worst of all, there's blinking tail lights. They blink 3 times before illuminating. That should be illegal. Yeah, I here go away. I'm on a live. You know how important that is, Joey. So what people do here is they go to the auto parts store and they buy the blinking LED light and they put it where the brake light should be. And it's not particularly bright. And when they put their foot on the brake, there's all these blinking lights on the back of their car. So I don't know what they're doing. But the cops here don't do anything. So they really should crack down on that because it's unsafe. A brake light needs to be bright red and solid. That's the way it should be. Dunn's cap on it. Well, they probably have it for sale. It's probably showing it for sale, Mark. Chris says, Will the Trill, I've seen those flickering taillights. What a stupid thing. Supposedly, they're supposed to grab your attention with the three blinks, and then the brake light comes on. But in an emergency situation, you want the brake light coming on right away. Yeah, it is, Lester, but I think they only sell it for the third brake light, right? Not for the regular brake lights. Because I don't think you want to get into that kind of wiring system. The CAN bus and all that to try to make your regular brake lights flash. That's crazy. Will the Trail. and not blink when you apply the brakes. Yeah, I want solid brake lights on the car in front of me so I know they're actually stopping. When you see flashing lights, that indicates a turn or hazard lights or something. So, Mopar Man, 1978. Welcome, man. Afternoon.
Apple.
Now, Lester, the third brake light. What are you doing, Joey?
What?
Get away from there. Those are all the electric plugs.
Ay, pobrecito. Do you want some kibble? Where's Miss Chocolates? Oh, they're still
Yeah,
working
the
on
third
them.
brake light, I agree when they put it on in 1986 because it brought the rear end accidents down. There's no reason to make them flash. It's right there. It's at eye level supposedly, and that's what it's made for. You don't need to change it up. So now people everybody knows that it comes on solid. Now you want to make it flash. So what does that mean? Everybody has to think try to figure out what they're doing. Wheel trill exactly, Chris. I've seen the flickering brake light thing on the main tail lights. Yeah, they should not be doing that. Mid South lowballer, welcome. Yeah, that 1.5 second of saying, "What the hell is he doing?" Oh crap. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Just does not make any sense. Believe in yourself. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Spec. At the laundromat, I did discover one of my backup sensors weren't working. A broken ground wire. You have backup sensors? What are they for? How did the ground wire get broken? So many questions. So yeah, that I'm gonna take pictures of the Ram Charger that was painted and do a video of it when we bought it after they sanded down a little bit and what it looks like now because the picture that the guy sent me because there was actual damage, the body work was pushed in on the driver's door from somebody coming by the truck on the street. It was pretty high on the door, so it must have been a truck or something that pushed the actual door in. But I looked at the picture that he showed me. I looked down the side of the door. You can't see there was ever anything there. And they did it pretty quick. It took a week to paint the whole truck, basically, have the driver's seat repaired for $900. I challenge you to beat that price painting a big truck like that.
Challenge him. Challenge him.
Challenge him, yes. Josh, okay. Believe in yourself. Yes, in my 99 town car. It has a back window. You don't need sensors. Mopar man, I added a small third brake light for the bottom center back window of my 65 Dart. We'll be doing the same for my mom's 65 66 Valiant. Was it a generic one or did you get one out of an 86 General Motors vehicle because those work the best. They're bright, they stand up a little bit up on the window. It really works well. Believe in Yourself says it's wired for a trailer and the wires were pulled away from the liner by a big moved box. Okay, so it's way back at the back of the car. Wheel of Trill. There's a Mexican 302 block from 1971 for sale close to me. It sold 5 days later. Oh, I'm sure a drag racer picked that up. Definitely, he's gonna make that thing sing. But the year really doesn't matter because they didn't change anything from 1968 on into the 80s. So it's basically the same engine inside and out. Just like Dean, tells us that the engine in Lester's car is basically a 1968 302. Believe in yourself. It came with sensors, just had it almost 2 years. Well, I guess it is made for an older person that can't turn their neck anymore. So, yeah, maybe sensors. I still try to turn my neck as much as I can. I got to practice that so it doesn't get stiff. This is a pretty station wagon, 66 country sedan. I'm very partial to the 66 Fords, especially in red. Ooh, it has air conditioning. That's rare. Hello, Blue Grit. How do those quick, inexpensive paints jobs look, and how do they hold up? Well, the agreement was that he puts, I think, 2 coats of color and 3 coats of clear on it. So I don't think it's gonna go bad anytime soon. I will clarify that with him when I go there on Monday. I want to make sure what was actually done because I'm going to do the video with the how I got the truck when it was in his shop and then the final result because I want my customers to see that the cars and trucks can be painted reasonably and then they can be delivered. It only took a week from from the time I gave it to him to it being completely done. So that's good. And it looks really nice. If I knew how, I would put the pictures up here for you guys to see, but I don't know how to do that. Will, that's cool in a way. It's just that I'm pretty picky when it comes to numbers. If I wanted to swap an engine in my Mustang, I want the year to match both the car and the block. Yeah, I understand that. But that's in the US, and you want that because the later blocks, the later engines had lower compression, they had worse parts, they were just worse engines and smogged out. Whereas the Mexican engine, they were all basically the same all the way up into the 80s. I understand you want the numbers to match, but basically any Mexican engine is basically the same. Hey Glenn, welcome. I lived in a country squire like that as a kid. My dad in I think it was 1962 bought a Chevy wagon from Fletcher Jones Chevrolet. I think it was in California somewhere. And on the way home, it blew a tire, brand new car. He didn't know where the spare tire was. So he ended up getting it changed. And I think that was the last station wagon that he ever bought. I mean, not because of the tire or anything, but after that, our family car, a couple of years in between, but our family car was a 68 Galaxy two-door hardtop for the whole family. So yeah, he didn't do the station wagon route, and they had the choice because it was a lease return. The car, he always bought lease returns, and because the prices were so low, he had a choice of the fastback of the Galaxy or the two-door hardtop, and he chose the two-door hardtop because the sun coming through that back window on the fastback would bake everything in the back seat. So I'm glad he did that. Believe in yourself. What do mountains wear when they get cold? Snow caps. Yeah. The only thing I know about snow caps, believe in yourself, is the candy, the chocolate with the little white candy on top. Those were good. Mopar man. I went retro. I used a 60s Harley chopper taillight for the Dart, but for my mom's Valiant, I'm using a reproduction 3040s hot rod oval shaped third brake light. Keep in mind, Mopar man, when the brake light comes on, that is going to reflect the light off the rear window back to the front. So that's why the third brake lights have the bezel around it, so that doesn't happen, especially at nighttime. When you put your foot on the brake, you're not going to be able to see anything out of that back window at all. He's trying. He's really trying. I think I put a JC Whitney third brake light in the 68 Galaxy when I had it, and it stuck. It had double-sided tape, so it stuck to the back window, and you could see it through the back window, but none of the light would be reflected off the window back to the driver. So that's the way the third brake lights need to be. You could probably create a bezel of some kind and like stick it to the window so they could only see it from the outside. So I'm working with a client right now. He's in Missouri. He's in Missouri, and like another client said, he's halfway between Florida and Arizona. So either way, he hasn't told me which way he wants to do it, but he's looking at a 81 Ford Fairmont station wagon with a 3-speed manual in it. It's red. I think it has a beige or brown interior, and it's a really 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 nice car. So he's supposed to call Lester LeSabre, to get a recommendation for me, which I assume he's going to do this weekend since he's been, unless he works on the weekend, I'm not sure. um, so then he sends me a message and says, and if this works out, I'm going to buy other cars from you, which of course I've heard before. I said, well, what other cars do you like? He says, I like the Mustang. I like the Ford Carryalls. I said, so hopefully it'll work out where I just send him the car to Florida. From Mexico City to Florida, it's 400 kilometers, and then he wants another one. I'll go do it again. Glenn, it's what's the temperature here? Oh, okay. It's nice and sunny out here, Glenn. The dog's outside for a while. He just wants to stay in here, the lazy bum. We're spoiling him. Believe in yourself. I remember the time the rear view mirror fell on the windshield on my 87 Shadow. I gooped it back on. Yeah, that's happened to me a few times. I don't know about goop, but they make the glue that you put it back on there. Valiant, I mean, Mopar man. I black out the sides of the red plastic lens and angle the angle as a back window. Not had any issues with visions at night. Oh, okay, good. So you did think about that. And Chris says it's a balmy 15 degrees here. That's like car wash weather. Go wash your cars, Chris. Glenn says, so 70 degrees warmer than me. We'll take it though. We don't need cold here. We're both feeling bad, so I hate to be sick when it's so cold outside. Mopar man says, keep in mind these third brake lights I'm using is a regular bulb, not LEDs. Yeah, but the regular bulbs are directional. They send light out the sides and everything. The LEDs just send them out straight. But yeah, I understand. Gosh, we're at a nice sunny 11 here. Man, you people need to move to a warmer climate. Just think of all the things you could get done during the winter time if you had 79 degrees on January 31st. So what I'm doing, Mrs. Spec, on these pictures is every time I publish a car, I put all the pictures in a folder. And I'm trying to think, why do I need that? Because it's just blocking up the computer. The computer says I don't have any more room. So for these, I'm just taking them in order up to 600 pictures and then throw them away afterwards, and then the next 600. You know, I'll keep saving the pictures, but just to use on here. It saves my hand from having to save 600 pictures manually. You guys have probably seen some of these cars before, but there's options out there. So I'm working with that client and then another client that wants an 84 Volkswagen Caribe. It's a green car. I just sent him 2 videos last night, but he wants it delivered to Seattle, Washington. So I'm working with a transport company that might be able to cross it for him and then deliver it to his location. In one thing, just one guy crossing it and delivering it up there, or passing it off to the next guy and delivering it up there. So got a lot of irons in the fire. Lester says Scott at Cold War Motors has an Oldsmobile from the early 50s that has an old add-on light on the trunk that has green, yellow, and red lights. Each one for go, yellow, and coast, red for stop. Yeah, I've seen those, and I was thinking about that, when we're talking about the flashing lights, that was proposed back then, but nobody wanted it at the time. Because again, the public knew red means stop. So then you're gonna have to retrain the whole public to what these two new colors mean. And I don't think I need a green light on the back of a car to know that they're actually going. I don't think that's necessary. Chris says, if it were 79 degrees here, I'd be out doing yard work instead of goofing off watching live streams. Okay, Chris, then I appreciate your cold weather. Buddy, hit 25 below zero last night. How do you guys have any problems with freezing, anything in your cars or anything? we had a particularly cold snap in Las Vegas one time, and I went to California for the Christmas time. Came back, and my '77 Mercury wagon um, had a cracked cylinder in it. I never really thought about antifreeze in my cars in Las Vegas.
Does gasoline freeze?
I don't think so. Hello, Kevin. Welcome. Howdy, Mr. and Mrs. Spec. Stop in to give a big thumbs up. Giving my fur babies a spa day. Check back later. Okay. And Mark, can you leave a message for these guys on what yesterday was? Lurking and watching. Ooh, we're being stalked.
I don't. I don't.
We're being stalked.
I don't need everyone to know.
Yes, you do. Lynn says, I run tequila in my radiator. Does tequila not freeze or just at a higher or at a lower temperature? Buddy says, door froze shut. Ugh. Do you have a handheld torch or something for that? Chris, if you maintain your cars properly and prep them for winter, you won't have any issues. Well, that would be a huge learning curve for me because we don't have any of those. I mean, I don't even have a working choke on any of my old cars, and they don't need them. Believe in yourself. My back doors freeze shut, so do the windows, but not the front doors. Oh, you're 21. We're going backwards here.
Being younger by the minute.
Yep, sure is. You sure are. What also surprised me on that Ram Charger was the guy did all that work on the driver's seat to make it look brand new for $35. So I am not complaining about the prices at all. The truck looks really, really, really nice now. And the customer is going to be really happy with it, assuming we don't wreck the paint job driving down to Veracruz on the highway, driving next to trucks and everything else. I tried to get my transport company to pick it up here on the 6th and take it down to Mexico City, and then we would just have to drive 400 kilometers, but they didn't have any room on their truck for it. So that didn't work. Chris, you have to lubricate the door seals with silicone spray and lube up the lock mechanism real well to keep the doors from freezing shut. Yeah, that takes a lot of work. How many cars do you have right now, Chris? That must be a lot of work you have to do every year. Do your cars rust out there too? Or did the Fiats come previously rusted? Kevin, he's saying that's her age, not how many years we've been together. Mopar man, I did a video a few days back where temperatures were 12 degrees, starting up my 82 Dodge D150 with a 225 and a manual choke. Did a couple of pumps, turned the key, and fired up. Been sitting in freezing temps. Yep, as long as you have a strong battery in it and your manual choke helps a lot. But my 63 Plymouth 225, no working choke, never has one. The little AMC doesn't either. The wagon doesn't. The Dart never did. A couple of pumps and it starts right up. So Mark says to Chris, and then the windows don't roll down. Chris, 3 daily drivers, the Beetle and the LeBaron. And you need another daily driver on top of that? Lester, do you need to wait for the paint to get harder before leaving? No, the truck has been was they have heat lights that they put on the truck for the day, and it's already been buffed out. They've already buffed the whole truck. It's ready to go. They didn't just paint it and they're gonna hand it to me. No, the whole truck is buffed. The roof was buffed. Everything was buffed on the truck, including the headlights, and it's ready to go. Most of these places will hand you the truck back or car back and say, just paint it and be done with it. No, these guys buffed it out and everything. I'm getting stuffed up here. Glenn said to Chris, like I tell everyone, I work on my car all summer to get it ready for winter. Winter destroys it. On the next summer, it's a vicious cycle. Buddy, road salt so bad in Massachusetts, you need a winter beater to keep nice car in garage. Is there any way to clean the undercarriage of the car? Or does no matter what you do, it's going to rust? Chris says, 3 including the Fiat I'm waiting for. What color is the new one, Chris? Jay's back.
Hey.
Hey, Jay. And Chris is talking for you because you live in the same area. The new one will be red. So you're going to have 3 red Fiat 500s. At least they have different license plates so you can tell them apart. Jay says, Chris Rock and I have the Bonneville salt flats here. Well, snow flats at least. I don't know if I'm looking forward to this drive or not. Well, neither of us are feeling very well, very good, very well, whatever. And it's a 3-day trip. So at least we could eat some decent food. Barbacoa. And then a good breakfast buffet. And we hit the road again. But we're going to have to drive through Guanajuato again and probably Michoacan. And that road getting close to Pachuca Hidalgo is horrible. Chris says, no, 2 are orange. I'm going to go back to that video you posted and I'm going to look. They look red to me after you cleaned off the snow. They both look very red. But he says, need weekly car wash to help with rust. Tony was telling us on his live that on the way home, he would find a big water puddle and he would drive through it as fast as he could. So that would clean the undercarriage of the car and then he would park it. Glenn says to Buddy, when I saw the first salt truck of the season, I drove straight home and parked the truck and covered it. Won't see the road till April. Mopar Man says, I'm going to do a video on the block coolant heater pump I installed on the 225. It's supposed to get up to 170 while circulating through the coolant system for easier startups during freezing temps. Yeah, I'm sure that will help. The engine will appreciate it. Jay says, I was retrofitting a battery in my son's Volvo XC70 right now. That is such a sad sentence. Not the battery part, but the Volvo part. Chris, if you undercoat the car properly in the autumn and thoroughly power wash it, the underside in the spring, you can keep the rust under control. Thank you very much, Kevin. Mrs. Spec is also feeling under the weather. That's why she's not reading the. She's looking at the chat, but she's not over here reading them.
I'm contemplating going
Yeah.
back to
So I guess I have to go to the store by myself. Chris says nothing stops rust other than proper storage here in Ohio. I have a few rust spots starting on my Durango. One in the door jamb, the upper part of the door jamb on the driver's side, and a little bit around the luggage rack. But I'm going to give it to the same guy, and he's going to fix all of that and probably repaint the whole truck white. Yeah, well, I mean, it is white, but I never change colors on a car. Lester says some car washes recycle water to save money, more and more concentrated salt water. Yeah, that's not good. Jay says, Mrs. Speck, too much partying with her friends. No, actually, she's supposed to go out tonight with her friends for her birthday, but she may not be able to do it. Buddy, I agree, Kevin. What was I gonna say? Oh, a lot of the car washes here, we have a lot of like hole in the wall car washes. They have built up cement like ramps that you put the car up like that, and then they'll pressure wash the whole undercarriage of the car, front to back. Get everything clean, which is we have to do to the Ram Charger. But we have to do it there in Veracruz. So they'll It's just a built-in thing at their car wash. They'll do everything, the whole undercarriage of it, and keep everything clean. Driveway, Chris says to Lester. No joke, they're washing your car with brine. Oh, great. Cars, cords, and travel. Welcome. My old lady has rust spots. Anything I can do? Yeah, that's you can use makeup. Makeup helps cover that. Glenn, my car looks like a giant salt lick on four wheels. So you have a winter beater, Glenn? Kevin, sounds like someone needs a bottle of NyQuil. No, I don't need to sleep, but all of this talking is making me cough more. I was fine last night. I slept the whole night on my side, and and that's what as an advancement. I'm using the nebulizer with the saline solution, and I'm gonna have to do that every 12 hours because that helps break up the stuff that's in my lungs. Jay says, does the Mexican car wash water give the car diarrhea? No, it does not, and neither does our tap water here. That's a Tijuana thing, Jay.
No, it's a lot of places. And our water here in Los Mochis is safe to drink. Actually, I have water right now that I got from the tap.
Yeah, our water is pretty good here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Josh, I mean, Jay, this is a pretty nice um, duster, and I've talked to the guy, but I guess I'm gonna go with the best case scenario that he works all the time, so he doesn't keep um, returning messages because I would like to get this into somebody's hand. I'd like to sell this to somebody. It has the shark tooth grill, even though it's has a little part out of it, and it has the first year tail lights. The car's in nice condition for the price. Although it looks like it has power windows or something. I don't know that. No, that's the door handle. Yeah, that's the door handle. 225 J. It's not a Super B. Only a Super B had a V8. And with the Slant 6, we only had a 225 here. We never had the smaller versions of it. So every Slant 6 in Mexico was a 225. 2001 Grand Marquis is my daily driver. I poured 15 years ago and it's holding up. So that stuff does work, Glenn. I didn't know. They can say anything they want to, but Kevin, I thought about suing the car wash they advertised falsely. Why? They washed the car. Jay, they used different parts on different cars here that didn't indicate a 340 in the car here. They just had that on the 71 Dusters here, the shark tooth grill. I'm sure you could get it over there on a less than 340 car as well. We didn't even have 340s here. Too bad Tanner's not here to see this. He says he has a banquet to go to because he won a trophy riding a dirt bike or something like that. Kevin, wash with salt. Oh yeah, but how are you going to prove it, Kevin? How are you going to prove the water they put on your car at that moment had the level of salt in it? Even if it has salt later or before, you'd have to prove that that salt was in the water at that moment. Glenn says to Jay, you can name it Montezuma's Revenge Auto Wash. Chris says 71 Satellite. Yes, please. I would love for somebody, and I was talking about this years ago, the self-service car washes that you put coins in and you wash the car yourself. I haven't seen that anywhere in Mexico ever. And I would love to have a place like that to go to so I could wash my own car with the brush and the everything. I would love to have that, but it's not here, unfortunately. You only wash at home, Kevin? You could save your water and go to the corner thing that has the self-service car wash. When a car wash here is, I don't know, like 80 pesos or something, $4. Well, a little bit more than $4 now. Um, let them do it. They do a better job anyway. Chris says to Glenn, yeah, their motto could be, we spray now, you spray later. We spray now, you rust later. Kevin, my buddy Chuck works at a car wash. He told me that's what they do. Well, if the law says they have to recirculate the water, it didn't say they have to clean it. Kevin, big pallet of salt in their storage area. Vin, there's your Vin. I was talking about that years ago, Lester, but the whole thing is, would it work here? Would people steal all the equipment from you overnight? You know, there's lots of situations where it could be a problem. And then people would be trying to steal the money from you. Of course, I think what happens in those places is the money falls down into an underground safe or something, or where they could get it out. So you can't just open up the little, the slot and anywhere where it's visible up above ground and get money out of it. Wow, buddy. They really think a lot of themselves. And then you have to tip the guys on top of that. Nobody would spend 400 pesos for a car wash here. The place would go bankrupt. Chris, this is the 72. Wait, no, it's not. Is it? This might be the 72 van I was telling you about. Glenn, I wash my cars when it rains. Always have a bucket of soapy water ready. The neighbors think I'm crazy when they see me out there in a downpour. I've done that too. Yeah, Chris, this is the one. If you look at the front grill, it looks like there's a little bit of damage there or Bondo or something, which is why I didn't publish it. But it is a 72. Why it doesn't have 72 taillights, I don't know. Lester, got that. Sounds risky. It could be, maybe an ex wrestler as a security guard. Maybe I don't know. Kevin Smith, I made my own chassis bath and have hot and cold water for outdoor hose. Yeah, you have to do that. Josh, I think that was a satellite. I don't think it was a real Roadrunner. It Mexicans like to put stickers on their cars. Jay, I don't have that information in front of me. It's over at the desk. I published it 2 or 3 times, I think. But now that the exchange rate in the past month, the exchange rate has dropped like 90 cents from the dollar to the peso. So it just keeps going down and down and down. And, I keep thinking about what Uncle Tony's always talking about. The dollar is crashing. It's not going to be the standard of the world and all that stuff. Thinking, how am I going to sell any cars when the exchange rate is so low? People have to come up with a lot more dollars to buy these cars now. But it's just something we have to deal with. On Friday, the rate went up just a little bit, but it's way down from where it was and going farther down. This is a Rambler Classic. It looks like a Matador. Looks like an AMC Matador. This thing needs to be wrapped in black and white, have a light bar on the top, and its call number would be Adam 12. Yeah, it says Matador, but those weren't Matadors in Mexico. And again, inline six in this car. It was the only engine that were available in these. This orange car here, red car, has the 4.2 liter inline six. Hello, Stray Bullet. Thanks for joining us. Somebody put a newer interior in it, which is good for driving. That little tag says airbag. It better not. Which is good for driving, but not good for originality. Cup holders in the back seat. Okay. Don't know what the interior is out of. Looks more comfortable than the original one, though. There's the engine, Jay. Inline six. It's got power brakes, probably power steering. That's all you need. And this is a 71 or 2 Super B. It's not a demon. I had a guy that was real forceful on Facebook. That's a demon. You're an idiot. No, the only thing demon on that car is a sticker. It's a Mexican Super B. You have to wonder when somebody's trying to sell a car why they take pictures that look like this. Clean it up, take it out. Don't leave trash on the interior. Make it look the best you can make it look. But nope, they don't do that. But this guy was not easy to deal with. I asked him for pictures, more pictures of the car. He sends me a picture he just took and says, "That's the only one for today." I'm like, what the hell? It's still for sale, so he's probably being difficult with everybody. But you know how those people are. It'd be a nice car to do the few repairs that it needs and, have the only Mexican Super B in the neighborhood. 4-speed, of course. Lester, I never know which side is up with those AMC steering wheels. Yeah, I think that one, the the horizontal part would be lower than the center part. But I'd have to look at the center emblem to see. And that all depends on your alignment guy too, I guess. He can turn it the other way. He can make it upside down and leave it there. Or you just leave all the trash on the interior, take the pictures. Leave everything dirty. I don't think they use those wheel caps in the US or anything, so those are Mexico only. And it's got the 318 because it's an early one. 318 with a 4-speed. But it does have 270 horsepower. So that's probably gross though, not net. It needs a lot of cleanup work. Somebody painted the dash red. I don't know why. Doesn't need that much red in there. That needs to be painted black again. Got good presence. Looks good. How much is a 340 Duster going for these days? That's the remnants of the car wash water. Yeah, probably Jay. And mixed with dirt from the front of his house. They put no effort into selling a car. I see cars advertised. There's 3 pictures, no description. Who's gonna want to even bother with that? The only thing, Jay, on that Super B was that it has a little bit of damage on the left-hand rocker panel. But I guarantee you my guy could fix it. If it's rust, he can also fix it. Just redo the whole the rocker panel, make it brand new again because I know it's structural, and be done with it. These Beetles do look good with wide wheels in the front and thinner ones in the front. It gives it a nice stance. But he wants a car that he can actually drive in the wintertime. So he's buying a Fiat 500. Another one. The work, the work that these people put into these cars here and then sell them for like 80,000 pesos or something. You couldn't even do the work on these cars for that price at shops over there. So the guy that I'm talking to that wants the Fairmont stick shift wagon, I told him, yeah, we can do, certain things here. He says, oh, I do all the work myself. So I do painting, I do everything. So Jay, if I was to color change a car, I would give it to this guy. He would strip it apart. He would I would, probably deliver it to him without the engine. He would paint everything the other color, and you would never know it was a color change. If you want to just paint the outside, probably $1,000. Just leave the door jambs. Because he asked me on this one, do you want to paint the door jam? You want to paint the rockers, the door jambs? No, it looked pretty good inside. So we didn't do any of that. We just painted the outside. He did a lot of sanding on it. He got everything smooth. He fixed the body work on the driver's door and then down the side of the truck. Um, there was a really, really small dent on the tailgate that we noticed on last Monday when we were there. Was it Monday? I think it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday when we were there, Mrs. Spec and I. And I said, "Hey, look at that." It's okay. Then I'll paint the tailgate. That was an extra, I think, $110 or $120 or something to paint the whole tailgate. So yeah, it was worth it. I don't want to deliver it to the customer after painting it, and oh look, there's a little dent there that we didn't see. I know, Jay, but you got to take into account how much the materials cost here compared to over there, where they're not they're not taxing the hell out of paint because they say it's a dangerous material here. So he did paint it the exact color it was. He has a little bit of paint left, and we're missing the front part of the running board on the right side of the truck. And I'm trying to get that from a junkyard in Guadalajara right now. I've got 3 people sending messages to the junkyard, but I was just told that Monday's a holiday here, so everybody's closed. So that's going to be a problem. Everybody's going to go back to work on Tuesday, and then if they even answer it and be able to ship it to me, maybe he'll be able to paint it for on Thursday or something, and then throw it on the truck to make it complete. But I can't. I don't know where else to find that part, especially this weekend. So I may have to deliver it like that with that piece missing, and get it to him at another time as soon as I can find one. I don't know how I would get it to him though, because we can't ship anything from here. Well, I guess I can through like Estafeta or FedEx or something. I could probably have the part painted and then put it in a box and ship it to him. But he lives in Ohio, somewhere around where you are, where Dan is, Danny Boyd, and right, Jay, it's Cinco de Mayo in February, sure. And then I could probably just ship him the part, and then he can put it on over there. But he says he lives in Ohio, but he spends a lot of time in Florida doing work. So that's why we're shipping it to Florida, and he can just pick it up right there at the port, and then drive it wherever he wants to drive it. Yeah, I have somebody that messaged me on Instagram about this car, but he asked me what the price is here in Mexico, even though he's in the U.S. So Mrs. Speck's birthday is a national day of celebration in Mexico. That would be nice, Chris, but the holiday is actually February 2nd, but I don't know what it is. You guys could probably look up February 2nd holiday in Mexico and see what it says. Not sure. The difference between the US spec Datsun 510s and the Mexican spec is that the US spec had independent rear suspension, I think, whereas the Mexican cars just had a straight axle. So people aren't too keen on the Mexican cars, but the 4 doors make the best rally cars. So there's that. Mark says to Chris, Cinco de Mayo always reminds me of my wedding anniversary, but it's Cinco de Marcho. Ha ha ha. Marzo. Mark. It's Marzo. Marzo. Yeah, when I was in elementary school, oh, Cinco de Mayo's coming up. How wonderful. And on the 5th of May, we would write on the paper, Cinco de Mayo. And then I come here to Mexico and nobody gives a crap about the holiday. Nobody cares. Yes, Mexico won the battle on the 5th of May. Then they lost the battle on the 6th of May. Right back. So, no, Lester, it's not Groundhog Day. It's something else. That's what I told Mrs. Spec. It's Groundhog Day. Why would they celebrate Groundhog Day here? But yeah, the holiday is Tuesday, but they're taking Monday off, and then everybody's gonna work on Monday. I mean on Tuesday. So yeah, so that makes it a short week for me to get that part. Yeah, those ground lizards, Mark. Those green iguanas that cursed us for when we went to buy Lester LeSaber's car. I don't believe that they are good luck when they cross your path when you're in an Uber. Mid South low baller. Constitution Day according to Google. Okay. Okay, they can celebrate Constitution Day, whatever that means. Yeah, that iguana that passed in front of our Uber on the way to the airport when we went to go to buy Lester's car didn't give us any good luck at all. Lester knows the whole story. The whole story. You see that broken turn signal right there on that Duster? I have replacements for those. My supplier has brand new lenses for those. You need to paint the outside of it because he was selling them to me with the silver painted, but they were doing a horrible job painting the silver at the production. So I told them, please stop. Just sell me the lenses clean, and the customer can paint it whatever color they want. C Creations. Hi, stopping for a moment. I definitely dig the channel since I discovered it a few months ago. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I try to give a variety of cars, and so you can see what's going on here in Mexico and how clean these old 50-year-old cars are that are still here and still, not this one, of course, but the majority of them even wearing their original rims and hubcaps. Mid South. Is that a three on the tree? Probably. The majority of the Dusters were here. Yep, there's three pedals there. And you can also tell that the gear shift lever is much higher than the dashboard. That gives it away that it's a three on the tree. Mark says, when my wife and I went to Puerto Rico, she was all amazed at the lizards. I figured they're the same as squirrels up this way. Yeah, pretty much. Actually, our house here is a couple of blocks from the biggest park that we have, Parque Sinaloa, and they have a lake there where the turtles live. There's turtles that live in the lake. The iguanas are all over the place. They're in the trees, but they're not contained at all. So they get out when they want to. They'll cross the street. They'll, be up in trees, whatever. The first time that I actually saw that, I was in Culiacan buying my '72 Ford. And I'm just standing outside the guy's office that's selling it to me, and there's just a huge iguana walking across the street like he owned the place. Just from one corner to the other, and he just kept walking down the street. It was like at the end of the block, just walking down the street. Like, oh yeah, that happens all the time. Like, if one of those was ever in the street in the U.S., somebody would pick it up and try to make it a pet. But no, not here. But yeah, I've seen them walk across my path a few times in this general neighborhood. But they maintain the park, and they have all these different plants and everything. They bring the school kids there to show them the plants and the flowers and all of the animals that live there and everything. And it's a full city block. It butts up right to the golf course, the country club, where you have to be somebody to be able to go into that country club. Never had a desire to go in there myself, but yeah. Stray bullet. Do the lizards eat walnuts? The squirrels eat all of the walnuts if I let them. No, I don't think iguanas eat walnuts. I don't think they have teeth to crunch them to open them. But the park over there, like in the summertime, they are everywhere. They're up in the trees, they're in the water, they're all over the place. They have the lake has ducks, it has geese. Um, you see the geese every once because they expect food from you, so they'll come right up to you. And geese can be pretty mean. So I've never understood being scared of the birds though, because they're still not as big as we are. They still don't have legs as strong as we do. They'll try to peck you, but you just smack them away. They don't. They scare kids though. They're pretty big. The ducks basically stay in the water unless you have some bread out or something. Then they'll come up, and the turtles will also eat the bread. Mark, hey, was the column shift on the left or the left of the wheel? No, it was where it should be. We're not in Australia. Things are right side up here. These are just pictures that I picked up, took out of my folder. So you're going to see all of these cars that I published, the dusters and all that, depending on the year, they're all in order of the year. Well, that's weird because I just looked at the picture and it was on the correct side. It was on the right side of the steering column. I would like to get to the point where I could buy myself one of these carryalls, um, and customize the hell out of it. The interior, the exterior, put not my company name, but put a company name on the side and really make it look like a billboard to show what they could look like, for an advertising, um, a vehicle to advertise somebody's business. This one is a little, well, yeah, stray bullet, because they're taller than us and they can peck you on the top of the head. That hurts. Of course, they usually run away and put their head in the sand. This one is a little pedestrian. You know um, the panel is pretty big, so you would need a big giant design for your company name. But there's a bullnose. I think it's an '85 model. It looks like a Bronco panel truck. It's the same size as a Bronco, has the same dimensions as a Bronco, but it has the side panel, that like a panel truck, though you could put your name on the side, and it looks really good. Hello, Pitts Night. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. And I thought that would be the perfect truck for somebody in their business over there. And right now, it's kind of a brown and yellow, like you know what those colors mean. It could use a decent color scheme on it, but that would be a great advertising vehicle for somebody's business because it looks like a Bronco. It has the same dimensions as a Bronco. It's just you look at it and think it's a Bronco, but then take a second look and no, it's actually a panel truck, which is something that people have never seen before. Mark says, "Okay, I went back and looked. The shifter was in driver neutral, and I didn't see it. Is that the one, the red one we just saw? It was up in reverse because you need to put it in reverse to get the key out." Kevin Smith, rougher than a stucco bathtub. No, it wasn't. Hey, Dean, you've been lurking? Stray Bullet. I like those better with no windows, just like the traditional panel truck. Yeah. We have a lot of the 67 to 72 Chevy panel trucks here that can really, really be nice, but they're two doors, and that's a long panel to design to have your design on. But they're all six cylinders. Of course, that can be changed. That can be upgraded easily. But I cannot do it here. If I took the six out and I put a V8 in it and tried to sell it, the truck wouldn't be allowed into the United States. The EPA does not allow engine exchanges. Oh yeah, that's possible, Mark. The light blue one. Kevin Shrinky Smith Ferrari making it good. Okay. Brown and yellow, running a septic company. That is very possible. Now that truck has been for sale for like 3 years now. When we were driving the very first Dodge Ram Charger up to the border, Mrs. Spec was talking to the owner of that truck, trying to get him to send me some more pictures on it, and they still have it for sale. So nobody's bought it, but it would be the perfect advertising truck for somebody's company. I tried to show I showed Kiwi that. Just imagine if you painted this nice and had your company name on the side and took it to a car show. Every owner of every car in there would be talking to you about getting work done on their car. Your business would explode. I don't know if he wants it to, because he probably has enough business with what he does right now, but that would definitely, they would like, well, where did you get that? Did you just put panels where on the Bronco? No, this is the way it was made. And of course it has the V8, it has a Mexican 302, and it has the 4-speed manual, and you could upgrade it any way you want to with junkyard parts from any bullnose truck in the junkyard. You can put air conditioning in it, you can put anything you want to in it, and it's it's highly customizable. Dean, all the best guests don't have to be invited, they just arrive. Talking to Mrs. Ecstasy after an epic party at our house on Saturday night. It was fun house. I don't know if I would want to drive one of these Renaults. I don't know. Kind of weird to me. The engine's in the back. Kind of odd. The whole feeling of it. I remember sitting in one as a kid and trying to figure out where was the turn signal lever? What did the other lever on the column do? I don't know. I couldn't figure out the controls in it. Of course, it was a non-running car, so nothing was where it should be. Here's another dense side carryall that used to be a panel, but somebody put windows back there, which may be a good thing, maybe not. With that blue one, the blue carryall, it has a wood floor in it. So I asked the owner, "Can you send me a picture of that?" She says, "Well, I can, but I have it filled up with stuff right now, so you're not really going to be able to see it." Well, it would be nice if you cleaned it out so you could show the truck that you're trying to sell, at least. This one doesn't even have reverse lights. Reverse lights were an option, no big deal. You also might notice no side marker lights on this truck. Dean, they have a lot of crumple zone. Just put in a whole lot of luggage in the front, you'll be safe. Yeah, but the luggage will kill you. Pit snipe. That's why you date fat girls, Dean. No comment, Pit. Dean, who needs airbags when you can stuff a bunch of inflated dates in the front? They puncture easily though, Chris. I'm not talking from experience, but still. Now this one also has a wood floor, but it's not going front to back, it's going side to side. I don't know why they did that. That's not common. This one looks like it would. This is the color of the school buses here. Hello, Steve. Thanks for joining us. Dean. And you can choose from 3 types of date, according to Rodney Dangerfield. I'm not going to ask about that. Mrs. Spec is asleep, so you guys got to keep it down. Oh, the door's closed. It's night. God bless Rodney, but I forget the punchline, Dean. Volkswagen Brasilia. Brazilian design, a Brazil design that they allowed Mexico to make here. We only had the 2 doors though. They had 4 doors in Brazil. And again, it's got the same Type 1 engine in the back that all Volkswagens in Mexico had, all air cooled Volkswagens. It's night. Miss Anna okay, or she just resting after a shift? No, she didn't sleep very much last night. She doesn't feel well. So her birthday was yesterday, and it's horrible to feel that way on your birthday. So she's resting now. She's supposed to go out with her friends to a restaurant tonight for her birthday, but she doesn't know if she's gonna be able to go. Dean, I'll only wake her up, Mexican inspector. I'm a rampant party animal. Chris to Dean. If that's the case, then I definitely need some mental counseling. It's not good typo, Dean. Animal. Steve. Looks like short 412 they sold in the US. It's a completely different body, Steve. Completely different. If you put them side by side, you'll see the angles and everything else. Didn't the 412 have a different engine in it? I think it did. Kevin, catch y'all later. Gotta go shrink myself into a model citizen for my model car friends. Take it easy, Kevin. Take care. It's night. Well, happy belated birthday to Miss Anna. Hope she feels better soon. So do I, Pitt, because next Friday we have to leave on a cross country trip to deliver the Ram Charger that's ready to go. So I'm slowly getting better, but no matter what, if even if I'm sneezing, well, this is going to be a problem that we're going to be in our truck going down there, but I have to get on a plane on the way back. So if we're both coughing or whatever, they're not going to let us on the plane or on a bus. Stray Bullet, I have a cold. Hope you feel better, Stray. Do you live in a cold area? Because having a cold in the cold is the worst. 411, 412 had the Type 4 pancake air-cooled engine, 1.8 liter or 2.0, I think. Yeah, I think it was a completely different engine than we had here. Sounds like you got some crud, Spec. Yeah, I got sick on the trip. The Friday that we bought the Ram Charger, my throat was sore when we were on that live driving out of Guanajuato. And a couple of days later, then I had the cough, and the cough started and everything. So, and I've had it ever since. But I'm doing everything my doctor told me. But he listened to my lungs. I don't have any bronchial problems, and I don't have pneumonia. And he says my weight is fine for my height, even though I have this huge stomach from the the celiac disease. He said my weight is where it should be for my height. So I think I was. He said I'm like 170 or 172 pounds or something like that. So I'm not going to stress too much about that. Steve Andrews. Yes, they had the flatter engine. The headlight bezels are very similar though. Yeah, but they made it Brazil. Which came out first though? Who had that design first? I don't know. Who copied who? Stray Bullet. I can't afford to heat my house this year because the utilities have become too expensive. Well, you can light a fire, can't you? Light a fire in the middle of your living room. That'll work, right? Dean Stevenson. For those unaware, Rodney Dangerfield finds true love, 1985. Question. See anything you like? I'll take the blonde, the one with class. Dean, you remember the the movie he did where he went back to school with his son? Something like that. The line in the movie when he was talking to Sally something. She says, "Oh, I have class." Well, call me when you have no class. Glenn, take 2 specs and call me in the morning. We already have 2 specs here. It's not working, Glenn. Well, we have more specs, but still. The doctor gave me an inhaler, which I'm doing every 12 hours. And then I have the antibiotics, which I just ran out of. so I have to go to the pharmacy. And the nebulizer, which is, yeah, Sally Kellerman, Chris, yeah. And the nebulizer, which I have to do after I do this. Right, Pitts Night. Sam Kinison as the professor. That was the best scene in the whole movie. Back to School, wasn't it? Wasn't it called Back to School? Something like that. VW 411 412 predates the Brasilia by a few years. Okay, so then we know who stole the design. Rodney Dangerfield is my secret spirit animal. Loretta Swit as a love interest? No, no, Pitt. Just like Chris said, that was Sally Kellerman. You had a 411 stray bullet? Was it a decent car? It's a very odd looking thing. You hated the movie Stray Bullet? Do you remember who played his son in that movie? It's not. You got to look out for number, or you'll step in number two. You remember who played his son in that movie? We all know him from another movie. Oh, the car, the Volkswagen. Yeah, yeah, Glenn, the guy in Christine connects the two movies for me. I'm really bad at names though. I can remember numbers like you wouldn't believe, but names, yeah, that's right, buddy. That was Arnie. He didn't need to buy Christine in that movie because his father was rich. It did have fuel injection though, so that was a plus. Did the fuel injection work correctly? Right, Pit Snipe. It was Sally Kellerman. Yeah, but it wasn't Loretta Swift. Did Loretta Swift even do movies? Glenn. And his girlfriend was in Christine too. I don't remember who his girlfriend was. Wasn't paying attention to her. You know it, Jason Mellon was played by actor Keith Gordon. Yeah, that's him. That was before he started losing his hair. So yeah, he had to hit while the iron was hot and do whatever movies he could before he went out of fashion, because he did. Bud Cort, who was in Harold and Maude, he didn't do very much after that movie either, even though he was a young guy. He did some stuff, and I think he did some horror movies. Dre, never a bit of trouble with the fuel injection. The Germans got that part right. Well, when it works, it works. But a lot of people have had a lot of problems with that Volkswagen fuel injection and the Mercedes fuel injection and all of that stuff. Glenn, you can do anything. You're a melon. Is that supposed to mean something? It's his father's money. The best line I ever heard in the Cosby Show was when Theo says, "We're rich, right?" He says, "Rich? You're not rich. It's my money." Something like that. I'm paraphrasing. And that's exactly right. The kid has to work for his own stuff. Oh, did she? Fitz Night? I must not have seen any of them. Race with the Devil and a few other under the radar films. Well, maybe that's why. Catherine O'Hara just died yesterday. She was in Beetlejuice. She was the mother on Home Alone. She was only 71. So it says she died after a very short illness. It didn't have to work. Christine was supernaturally Mopod. Yep. Swift was in the feature length pilot for Cagney and Lacey. That didn't go anywhere. Yeah, so we don't have Catherine O'Hara anymore. So no Home Alone reboot. Lamont Sanford died today. Who's Lamont Sanford, Mark? I thought the Sanfords was a fictional family. You mean the actor that played him? The video that I did on YouTube on this Super B was my most viral video. I think I'm up to like 4,000 views on it. Yeah, Damon Wilson. They're dropping off one by one. Now, who had the saddest death apart from Red Fox? Lester, my favorite Rodney Dangerfield movie is Easy Money. Easy Money. Right, Glenn. Damon Wilson. Driveway. Chris. VW was doing fuel injection with the Type 3 VWs in the 60s. Definitely ahead of the game. Yep. Now, who had the saddest death apart from Red Fox? With all of that stuff that he did, Elizabeth, I'm coming to see you. He actually has a heart attack on the set of the show he was working on, and everybody thought he was joking. So they did nothing. They did nothing for him. Crazy. The little girl that was in that show, the very little girl, was the one that was on Glee some years later. She died a few years ago in front of her child when he was in the water or something. She jumped in to save him and she saved him, but she drowned saving him. So it's like a perpetual thing. The little girl was on set when Red Fox dropped dead, and her son watched her die too. Yeah, John Ritter was out of the blue. I don't even know if he knew that he had that problem. So, if you're a healthy in your, mid 40s or whatever, are you going to go to a cardiologist to see if you have a heart problem? It's not a thing that people think about. Oh, Dean. Yeah. I was living in Vegas when that happened, and his girlfriend was driving the Firebird and she swerved to avoid something and killed them both. Oh man. No, not a good thing. Same thing happened to a friend of mine's friend. They were up in the mountains and the girlfriend was driving, and a little animal ran in front of the truck. She swerved and she survived, but he died in the accident. And great, they still they she saved the little animal but killed him. You don't swerve for anything when you're on a road. Sam K's death was saddest. Norm Macdonald said Red Fox died doing what he loved. Sam died doing what he hated. Driving in a car? Dick Shawn, the guy who played the son into Mad 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 World, died on stage. Sat down, didn't move for like 5 minutes. People thought it was a bit in his comedy routine. Not good at all. Ray Bullet, I'm 60 and won't go to the goddamn doctor. I don't trust him now. Well, you should have had a doctor you trusted years ago so you would be able to go to him at 60 years old. I've been going to my doctor for over 20 years. He has my whole history in his computer. He said he might be retiring in like 5 years. So, hopefully I trust him. He's an internist. He studied some in the US. He studied here. He has diplomas all over his wall. So, he's been good to me so far. He's also part owner of the hospital that we go to. So, that's a whole other story. It's night. My girlfriend and I were on our way home from a movie, having listened to Kinnison's cassette on the way there. Then we heard about his passing on the way home on the radio. Oh man, not good. It was big news in Vegas when I lived there. Driving to his next gig. Hey, you looking forward to this? No. Yeah, he was gonna go play in Tonopah or no Tonopah, Lake Havasu, something like that. Mark says, my childhood friend's dad got up to get a snack in the fridge, opened the door, fell forward into the fridge. His aorta burst, so he was dead before he hit the floor. How do you know when something like that's gonna happen? You know, Dean Stevens said, Matt. Chris says, well, this chat has certainly taken a morose turn. Sorry about that. I don't want to talk about the fake jeans beetle that's on the screen. If you notice in the pictures, it doesn't say Jeans on the side. It says Jenns. So yeah, somebody did this up to make it look like a jeans beetle, but it's not. It's weird that when I post one of these, not this one, but when I post, thank you, Mark, she's asleep. When I post one of the special Mexico only Beatles, the special editions, the million, 2 million, 1 million car or whatever, nobody's interested in them. Lester, Catherine O'Hara was in Schitt's Creek, Canadian TV show. Ever see it? Sometimes very funny. My buddy was watching that and he showed me an episode or two, and it was funny, but the jokes get old really quickly for me. Mark says, "Wake her up." No, I can't do that. She didn't sleep all night, and hopefully she'll rest enough where she'll be able to go out with her friends tonight. I have to go to the pharmacy to buy my antibiotics. It's night. It's been a rough week. Lost a couple uncles. Both had long, productive lives still, though. Yeah, still sad. Yeah, it's when they go. You never know what's going to happen. Mark, don't wake her up. I won't. Maybe that beetle belonged to Jen, so it's Jen's beetle. That could be, Chris, but they tried to make it look like it had denim interior. It was on Netflix, Lester. Always very funny, Lester. Steve, it's a shame they based the Mustang 2 on the Pinto rather than the Maverick. They still put a V8 in it, Steve. So, I don't know. The Pinto wasn't that bad. The car was what it needed to be at the time. And we have those horrible looking new ones because of this one. It's night. Gene Levy is great as part of an ensemble, but I hear you, Spec, as a leading man, his shtick gets old. Yep. Maybe Jen works at the Levi factory. Maybe. You never know. I just can't try to pass it off as a jeans beetle. The Pinto was a great car, Steve. Of course it was. Got people out of a lot of binds. It was a car that started every day, got them to work, easy to work on. All you need is a screwdriver to work on it, basically. The styling would have worn better on a longer wheelbase. Yeah, you're probably right. But that was the gas crisis, so people wanted smaller and smaller cars. D, but Mexican Spectre, if you're constantly forgetting, shit's fun. Shit is fun sometime. Sometimes. I don't remember much about the show. Lester, the Pinto got a better front suspension than the Maverick's Falcon suspension. This is another car that I would like to have for myself. It looks just like a regular Nova, right? With a 350 and a 4-speed in it. Nobody's gonna think you're gonna kick their ass in this car. Ray Bullet, and the Mustang 2 is the third best Mustang ever produced behind the New Edge and the Coyote Powered. What's the new Edge? Is that the 2005 and up? It was the right car for the right time, Steve. That might have been helped by Charlie's Angels because they had the Cobra, they had the coupe in there. If the Angels can drive them, anybody can. The Maverick two door looked like an Aston Martin DBS on the cheap. Where would the Mustang two, based on the Maverick two door fit in? Me too, buddy. Rather have a Pinto instead of a Vega. I had a lot of Pintos, and I enjoyed every one of them, every last one of them. Wagons, sedans, hatchbacks, all of them. When I was in Vegas, I bought a '77 in a dark bronze color. It was a really, really, really nice car. Drove it to California, got new plates for it, brought it back to Vegas. I went to sell it, and as soon as I advertised it, some guy came, paid me what I wanted, and took it back east because they didn't have any more back there. This was such a nice car. They were easier to find back then. And then for my daily driver, I bought a 76 V6 automatic wagon in blue that I bought it and had something fixed in it. I drove it directly from buying it to the mechanic, and the mechanic called me a day later and he said, "You, you're lucky you got here. The steering column was hanging on by a sliver of metal, and it was ready to break." So he says, "Yeah, we're gonna fix that and fix the car." And I drove that car for 2 years around Vegas. You don't need anything more than that. Mustang 2 was of its era, yes, Lester, and I would have no problem driving one today. Lester, any Pintos in Mexico? There are a few here. There's one in Mexico City that has a 302 in it, but because we know it's an American car, what we would need to do with it is just drive it across the border and apply for a title over there. Just do a lien sale on it or something and apply for a new title in whatever state the owner lives in. Because I can't cross it because it has a 302 in it, but it's a beautiful car except for the taillights. They put like they put like trailer taillights where the taillight should be, which can easily be removed and put the Pinto taillights back on. Or actually they were Maverick taillights because the Maverick came out first in '69 with those taillights, and then the Pinto borrowed from there. I've always thought of them as Pinto taillights, but not. They're actually Maverick taillights. Mark, I had a '76 Aster wagon, Canada's Pontiac version of the Vega. At the end, I was running straight 50 motor oil in it. Mark, that was also the U.S. Pontiac version of the Vega. That was also sold in the U.S., the Pontiac Aster. Steve Andrews. Vegas were good if you got a sleeved cylinder block. I had a couple. Yeah, if when you buy a brand new car, you don't expect to bring it back in 5 or 6 thousand miles to have a new engine put in. I know people that bought them new, and it was just absolutely a horrible experience having to, you bring the car back to put an engine in it. What are you going to drive in the meantime? They don't give you a car to drive. So you buy a Pinto, it doesn't matter what engine's in it. It could be the 1600, the 2000, or the 23, or the 28. It starts every time you drive to work. You don't have to worry about it. The 2.3s were really good engines. And wasn't it the 2.0 that they raced the Pintos with it, or was that the 2.3? The 2.3 was such a good engine, they kept using it all the way up into what, the early 2000s in the Ford Rangers. There was nothing redeemable about a Vega at all. You could put whatever engine in it, you could put the Iron Duke, whatever, but as a car to buy it, just to buy and drive, you're not doing that. You're gonna have to put a lot of work into a Vega. Buy two of what, Stray Bullet? If there were Pintos around here, I'd have them in my backyard. I like them that much. And you can't tell my Fury but Pintos are my favorite car. Simplicity over anything else for me. Put the key in, starts up, you drive. The original Pintos in '71, when you bought one of them, It came with a four-sided tool that you put on your keychain that you could adjust the headlights with it. You could it had in the owner's manual all these things that you could do with it all around the car with this one little tool that they gave you. Yeah, but if you have two Vegas, stray bullet, they're both going to be in the shop for the engines. Vegas did keep oil companies in business though. You bring your car in for gas. Would you like me to check the oil? No, just put 2 quarts in there. I already know. Mark, I was in the process of fitting a 231 cubic inch V6 in that Aster, but I was young and dumb and was using a come along in an engine crane. Let it go and destroy the radiator support. Lester said they raced the Pinto 2.0 in England. Yeah, in the US too. A lot of Pintos were race cars. A lot of them. Glenn, Mark had a friend who got 180,000 out of a stock Vega with original engine. A quart of oil every day. Spent 15 years restoring another one when couldn't find a replacement parts for it. Glenn, he didn't get 180,000 miles out of a stock Vega. You can't say that when you're having to put a quart of oil in it every day. He was just limping it along. He may have gotten the miles out of it, but the engine was no good from the beginning. We talk about the best engineers and everything at General Motors at the time. How did they let the Vega slip through? They did tests on the engine. They had to have done tests on the engine. So they knew they were going to fail. So why did they put it into production and put it out on the street? I don't know. See, this van right here is proof that Plymouth vans existed and exist. That was one of the best engines Ford ever built, behind the Coyote, of course. Right, Stray Bullet. And they used it for years and years and years. They put fuel injection on it. They put all kinds of stuff on it. Just kept going over and over and over again. Yes, Glenn, it went 180,000 on an engine never torn down, but it needed to be torn down. He was burning a quart of oil every day. That engine needed to be torn down. The fact that he didn't do it and just kept buying the oil, that was his option, but the engine was no good. Chris says, marketing pressure, same reason Ford sold the Fiesta Focus with the known faulty power shift transmissions. Yeah, that was a cluster. You know what? I don't know why. Did people sue the company over that? They have the documents, right, saying saying that they knew the transmission was bad, so don't put it out, but they did anyway. Dean, you just have to do with the Vega all the things that GM didn't do. An Austin chassis, 302 Chevy powered. The guys that were in my auto shop with me, I was the TA in my first year of high school. They just kept putting 302s in Vegas, so they didn't worry about it. They didn't worry about the 4 cylinders. Dean, because they were told it's food enough, it wasn't good enough. Steve, there were a lot of companies that sleeved Vega blocks up here in the 80s. Vega Specialist up here in Washington. Got 2 from them, was a good engine after that. Jay Weiss. Hey, Jay. Jay, welcome. Hey, Spec. Did you know all the cars started life as right-hand drive, like in UK and Australia? US and Europe switched to left? No, the Mercedes was the first car. Mercedes Benz, and it wasn't right-hand drive. Where'd Pit Snipe go? Pit Snipe. Cripes, 50 years later, engines are still dropping like flies from Swarf. How did testing not catch that from multiple manufacturers? Just lazy, and now the companies are run by penny counters. So they're going to tell them, just do it. Fill the oil, check the gas. Right, buddy. Exactly. Got waste oil from Quick Lube. It got him to work every day. Well, yeah, that would help. But he's still burning it. How did he ever get license plates on the thing? Chris. Oh, hell yeah, there were class action lawsuits over the power shift debacle. Crazy. Dean Stevenson. Good enough. Those motion interesting Vegas were kind of neat. You still don't see a Vega on the road anymore. Jay Weiss, Uncle Jesse, white Ford truck is the best pickup. Granddad Jeff, good day, Mexi Brotherhood and Mrs. Mexi Sisterhood. Mrs. Mexican Spec is asleep right now, so she didn't feel good last night, didn't sleep much last night. So she's asleep. That's why you hear my voice and not hers. Mark, now I heard Cosworth Vega was something. Yeah, but it was a very expensive vehicle. Not many were sold, and who knows how to work on them today. They did rust, though. Oh, they sure did. Lester LeSabre. Ed Cole was GM president and engineer and pushed the Vega aluminum engine. That's stupid. Planned obsolescence. Yep, Steve. But it shouldn't be obsolete when it had 6,000 miles on it. Mark, Bill Gates mentality. Put the product out, get the sale, then worry about the issues. Yeah, he certainly did that. Jay, why is the Ford diff not copied by other makers? All muscle cars, all muscle cars get a Ford diff conversion done, as it's great. Why didn't makers just copy it? Probably because they just wanted their cars to drive down the road, get you to work, and not do anything with racing. Chris, you had fun with all that snow? Pits, pits, pits night. Swarf. The grit left over from machining the block, crank, and bearing caps. Oh, okay. Thank you. Stray Bullet. A lot of early cars were right-hand drive because the gear shifters were on the outside of the car, and most people are right-handed. Well, yeah, okay. I see that. Dean. The Vega steered well, had great looks, just the alloy block, oil, and radiator issues. Well, you don't see any. You see Pintos driving around. You don't see Vegas. Jay-Wise. Is the LS the best new engine? Is the LS new? Thank you, believe in yourself. I'll take that on advisement. I am not going to try to read that. Everybody can read that for themselves. I know you're just testing me. I know it. Yeah, you got to have your shop weatherproofed for the cold. Gray Bullet. There are a lot of strong differentials, Jay. The Ford has some good strong differentials that are plentiful and cheap. Mark to Jay Weiss. I didn't convert my drag cars to Ford diff. My Camaro still has 10 bolt that is bulletproof. It came out of a 1200 horsepower Camaro that ran here in Ottawa. It has 35 spline axles. Mean. At least it's some kind of symmetry. Worse. Have you ever done Route 66? No, I have not. I never drove across that country like that, like we're going to do here on Friday. Mark. And my 79 Malibu has a 12 bolt diff. D Creations. I saw a Vega wagon in Florida a couple weeks ago, street driven, side pipes V8. How is it not rusted away in Florida? Not even talk about the engine, but how did it not rust away in Florida? Pit Snipe. Spike, your vehicle knowledge is worlds beyond mine. So I'm always a little tickled when I can introduce an engine or machine shop term to you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I didn't know if it was misspelled or meant something else. I'll try to keep it in my head. The LS and LT proved that Chevrolet had leaned from the Vega aluminum block 4. That Bronco was something else. Yes, C Creations. Here's the problem with that one. It's not too far from me, but how would I transport it to the border or to the ship to have it shipped out? It won't fit on a transport truck, and I'm definitely not going to drive that thing. Buddy, GM should have never put the HT 4100 Cadillac another. Yeah, I don't understand why they experimented with the most expensive cars in the line with their loyal customers. The V864, the 4100, the North Star, all of the failing engines were in Cadillacs. What's green and not heavy? Light green. Thank you, believe in yourself. Josh, probably away from the coast. There's salt in the air all over Florida, Josh, and Vega's rusted in Southern California. So I don't see how it, unless he really, rust proofed it or something or fixed all the rust. I don't know. Mark. But nowadays, if somebody wants to upgrade the diff in a G body, I tell them to do a Ford 8.8. Nope, Swarf. I swear I didn't make it up. I'll check that later, Pitt. Jay Weiss, what's the most famous Bronco? The OJ Bronco. That was the Hearst Bronco. He just happened to be inside it. Lester LeSabre, the Ford 9-inch uses a lot of power. Dwarf is a real word. Any kind of metal shavings that are byproduct of machining operation. I wonder who invented that word, because it doesn't sound like it has anything to do with machining. No, it isn't made up, Josh. Award is the chip and ribbons cut off. It disappeared. Not the shavings, misfit, the dust. Exactly. Buff, I'm late. We're in town shopping. That's okay, Buff. We'll be here a little bit longer. Buy us something good. I need to walk to the pharmacy, which is probably going to kill me because I still don't feel that good. But I ran out of my antibiotic pills, so I need them. Spray bullet Cadillac is usually the experimental division of General Motors. The wealthiest are used to long-term test of products. Well, that's not the way it should be. Dean, next time I see Olive, I'm going to tell her that light green. Or maybe I'm wrong again, Chris. Uno, hey Uno, welcome. Chips and ribbons? Sounds like the worst snack at gymnastics. I don't know, it could be good. Potato chips and ribbons of candy? Could be. Those are the best wheels. Believe in yourself. I don't care what car they're on. Gray Bullet says the 8.8 is the differential of choice now, Lester. Dean, a Scottish person invented that word. Probably James Watt. The Vega wagon was a driver, but in good shape. Painted a metallic green. You could tell the owner took care of it. It was in Melbourne, so I saw a few classics, that including an original Batmobile, C Creations. But my question is, how is it still in existence if it hasn't? How is it not rusted away when we know that was the major problem with the cars, especially in Florida? Wonder what engine he had in it though. James Watt's jokes were killer. Granddad's junk. They look like Hustler mags. Aren't these called torque thrusts? I didn't know Hustler magazine made a set of wheels. That seems out of their realm of business. This is a nice car, but who wants a 4-door F body? I did publish it, but it looks tougher than it is because it has the 225 in it. Uno, how's all that Canada in the eastern US? Enjoying the shoveling? Canada is called snow. You call snow Canada? They called him Killer Watt. That was a long setup on a joke, Dean. Hit snipe. Damn it. This is twice now today. Swarf is all the cuttings from the machine process. I had to check myself. I got hung up on the latest engine fails that are due to the fine particulate. Driveway. Nothing we can't handle. Mark. Only got about 4 inches here. Uno. People didn't want a two-door F-body of that gen. That's true. But a lot of people had them because they were cheap. There's too many cars that people like only because they can buy them cheap. And that doesn't help me sell cars. I mean, this wagon looks good. Dark brown with darker brown, I guess it's paint, where the wood stuff used to be. I think this one is even a V8, which is rare to find in a Mexican car. My aunt and uncle bought a new Plymouth Volare station wagon, I think in 1977. I think. My aunt drove it out of the dealership, turned right around, came back, told them the horn's not working. Now, this is like 15 minutes later. The salesman says, your husband took the steering wheel apart. That's why the horn doesn't work. She said, if you knew my husband and he didn't know anything about tools, if you knew my husband, the fact that he doesn't know anything about tools, you wouldn't be saying that. I mean, the 15 minutes later, she brings it back. They still don't want to fix something that didn't work. Uno. Missing this next storm by 60 miles. Groundhog Day is Monday and spring 7 weeks away. Uno. Driveway. You should tune into the local news. Apparently, the world is ending. People are dying and chaos in the streets. That's only in one state, Uno. We're fine with that. Few creations. I have known a few people with Vegas as race cars. The one in Florida was a small block. Anything can be fixed. Are there not replacement panels for Vegas? I seriously doubt it because there's not enough around to make a business out of it. I remember the sign at the pick apart yard. Any car, $150 except Vegas and Ramblers. They didn't want any Vegas or Ramblers. They had plenty in the yard. This was in the 80s though, when the cars were still on the street and people didn't know how to get them running. Glenn says to Uno, that's down south where they don't have snowplows. We're fine up here in New York. Barracuda, hey Barry. I can hear that coughing in New Zealand. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm getting all stuffed up and I don't want to blow my nose on a live. Uno, did they sell Vegas in South America? No, they did not. At least not as far as I know. Oh, I'm sure there are fiberglass panels for Vegas stray bullet because they're race cars. But to restore one, I don't think so. Yeah, somebody put a lot of work into that wagon and still can't get any money out of it. The wheels on this car I really like. They're wide with the center caps inset. I like those. And they fit inside the wheel wells. The owners are jerk, but whatever. If it was a panel wagon stray bullet, maybe, because they were so rare. Their little their panel delivery truck. But other than that, I don't know. There's a lot of people out there that like their Pintos, but there's very few people out there you can find that had a good experience with a Vega. Josh says South American cars tended to be warmed over versions of US models for many years. Yeah, they had their own manufacturing and they had to make what they could. So, just like in Mexico, same thing. Pitt is right. Swarf is a real thing as he describes it. D. Barracuda, welcome. I won't stalk you today. I'm busy working on Granddad's junk. That sounds weird, Dean. Stop working on Granddad's junk. Stray bullet. Cock wheels. Are they? Because they're wider. I think they are buff. The side marker lights in the grill. Yeah, I gave a set of those side marker lights to a friend of mine for his Fairmont. I don't think we have them anymore. Dean says I'd fix a Vega in just three numbers. 302. Actually, it's 350. Stray bullet. I might have a cop engine and cop suspension too. It might. Yeah. Uno. That Fairmont will fit a Mustang DOS and fenders, hood and grill, and bumpers. Yes, or the other way around. But why would you want to make your Mustangs more square? Dean. And how would you know it was Dean Stevenson? Why? 302 is a special thing for you? Steven Andrews. I love the styling. My Vega GT looked like a baby Camaro. Shame the bill was so bad. Yep, it did look like that. Chris says Dean's working on Granddad's junk. Must not be any sheep around. Ooh, no comment. Mark, 454, baby. That's a lot of weight in the front of a Vega, Mark. Yeah, stray bullet, another Omega. I have to get in contact with my previous client on that because he wants another one. But I'm in the middle of this delivery with the green truck, so when I get back, I'll talk to him. And maybe I'll be taken up to Chihuahua. We'll see. Josh, why put a Ford engine in a Chevy? They made a 302 Chevy also, Josh. Oh, this is the one that I actually sold. Barracuda. If my uncle says he can help me out, it's probably a pot roast. Steve Andrews. Buick 3.8. Best engine for the Vega. Yeah. Give it a little more power, but not too much. Hey, Granddad's junk. Maybe we could go for a walk in a national park, find a burning coal pit fire, and roast some frankfurters in the fire. Are you sure you wanted to say frankfurters, Dean? You didn't want to use another word for that? See, Uno, you're here to see this Volkswagen van. What does it say on the side? What do they sell, Uno? The perfect thing for our live. The sheep are easily fleeced. I'm working on harder candidates. All you need is luck and churros. And that's in Mexico. He did that in English in Mexico. Anybody want to buy one of these vans so they could sell churros in the US? It was the Camaro Z28 pit that had the 302. I don't think any other model had it. You had to buy a Z28. See, you can make all the churros you want, stuff them with anything you want, and sell them out of this van. No, but you could call it a wiener. Glenn, a lot of guys found out the hard way what happened to a Vega with a V8 when they punched it for the first time, broken windshield, and door they couldn't open up. Oh, it's worse than that, Glenn. A kid in school brought one to school, and he didn't reinforce anything underneath. And the first time he put his foot down on it, the right rear wheel came up into the air and stayed there. Yep. Okay, guys, we're at the end of the pictures. So, Udo, you want to send me the money for the churro van? You can sell churros all over the place. It has the fryer in there. You just have to get the ingredients. The van's already painted up just like it has. Yes, it has a fryer inside, Stray Bullet. It's all ready to go. It's not that expensive either. Matter of fact, I think I saved it. I think I saved it as a publication. It'll probably sell quickly though, because anybody can take that onto the street and start making money right away. There's a lot of these vans that are being turned into these food trucks. You might notice that the roof goes up. Sorry, the roof goes up on the left side, which means you would have to park the van backwards on a street in order to sell the items, which the police would not appreciate. So that would be difficult, but maybe in a parking lot or something that would work. Mark says I destroyed an OE Holly car that was on a 302 Camaro. I ran the numbers after I cut the choke horn off. Well, you can't sell if you don't buy first, Uno. Anyway, we're done with the pictures, and it's been over 2 hours, so I'm gonna get out of here. I have to go over to the pharmacy and over to the store. No, I don't think it was Uno. I think it's an air cooled van. Oh, air cooled van. It's one of the older ones. So I really need to blow my nose, and too much information I know, but you can probably hear me. So I appreciate everybody being here, and hopefully we're both going to get better over the next week so we can go on our trip. And we're going to be live the whole time driving. It doesn't matter if we're starting off at 5 o'clock in the morning. We're going to be live, so you guys in Australia can keep us company in there. We're going to have to drive almost 1,800 kilometers to get the truck down to Veracruz and then put it on the ship. So we're working on all the documents right now, and but it's going to take us 3 days to get there. So you're going to have 3 days of lives with us. And on Sunday night, we'll probably if everything goes right, we'll be in the hotel in Veracruz, and we'll try to do a live from there. But we're not going to be well. I guess all day Saturday we'll be live on in the truck because we're going to be driving all day. Hey, Fog, thanks for joining us, but we're leaving right now. So I appreciate everybody being here. Adios.